Welcome back, everyone. We have a fun little episode today called CGP Grey, the secret city inside of London revealed. This is two videos in one. This is part one, secret city inside London. Part two is the mayor of secret city of London. Context real quick, why we're doing this video. One, it's interesting. History is intertwined with politics and lots of things, and I saw this video for a while, wanted to do it. Two, I've been to London, so as I continuously strive to go outside my comfort zone of the United States and everything, I love learning a little bit more about enriched heritage and culture of others. Starting with London is probably the most vanilla way to do that, but at the same time, London's an interesting place. So let's jump right in, shall we? Make sure you hit that like button. Let's go.
The great city of London, known for its historical landmarks, modern skyscrapers, ancient markets, and famous bridges. It's arguably the financial capital of the world and home to over 11,000 people.
That is, I guarantee you, this is like the gotcha moment right here. 11,000 people within the municipality of the city of London versus the metropolitan city of London, which is like 13 million or something like that.
Wait, what? 11,000? That's right, but the City of London is a different place from London. Though London is also known for its historical landmarks, modern skyscrapers, ancient markets, famous bridges, and is home to the government royal family and 7 million people.
And this was created in 2012. It's not dated because I believe this is still constant, whatever. Maybe the numbers are different, but I remember when I went, it was like 12, 13 million within the metro side.
If you look at a map of London crafted by a careful cartographer, that map will have a 1 square mile hole near the middle.
And I know I'm pausing a lot. I just nerd out with these types of things. So these boroughs, these are 30, I think like 32-ish boroughs. And that little spot right there, I think the city of London is like Westminster and like the London Eye, Big Ben, all of that. I think that's where.
It's here where the City of London lives inside the city named London. Despite these confusingly close names, the two Londons have separate city halls and elect separate mayors who collect separate taxes to fund separate police who enforce separate laws. The mayor of the City of London has a fancy title, the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor of London, to match his fancy outfit. He also gets to ride in a golden carriage and work in a guild hall, while the mayor of London has to wear a suit, ride a bike, and work in an office building. The City of London also has its own flag and its own crest, which is awesome and makes London's lack of either twice as sad. To top it off, the City of London gets to act more like one of the countries in the UK than just an oddly located city, for, uniquely, the corporation that runs the City of London is older than the United Kingdom by several hundred years.
Which doesn't surprise me because the United Kingdom, when did the United Kingdom become like the United Kingdom? Like the 18th or 17th century? Maybe the 19th century, the early 19th century. I think the early 19th century is the right answer, but you know, I'm not sure, but it makes sense.
So how did the UK end up with two Londons, one inside of the other? Because Romans. 2,000 years ago, they came to Great Britain, killed a bunch of druids, and founded a trading post on the River Thames and named it Londinium.
Just remarkable right here. And obviously all of Roman cities were kind of built templated. So you'll have a forum, you'll have an amphitheater sometimes. Like Paris, you have an amphitheater on the outskirts of London. In this version, you have it inside the walls. You have different gates. I think that bridge used to be more pontoonish versus what Westminster Bridge is today. Or is that London Bridge? I think that's London Bridge. That's definitely.
Being Romans, they got to work doing what Romans do, enforcing laws, increasing trade, building temples, public baths, roads, bridges, and a wall to defend their work. And it's this wall which is why the current city of London exists. For though the Romans came and the Romans went, and kingdoms rose and kingdoms fell, the wall endured, protecting the city within. And the city, governing itself and trading with the world, grew rich. 1,000 years after the Romans, yet still 1,000 years ago, when William the Conqueror came to Great Britain to conquer everything and begin modern British history, he found the City of London with its sturdy walls more challenging to defeat than farmers on open fields. So he agreed to recognize the rights and privileges City of Londoners were used to in return for them recognizing him as the new king.
Pausing. Definitely reaffirming what I said earlier about the London Bridge, because the London Bridge was very close to the Tower of London, and that's not close to Westminster Bridge. Cool.
Though after the negotiation, William quickly built towers around the city of London, which were just as much
Yeah.
about protecting William from the locals within as defending against the Vikings from without. This started a 1,000-year-long tradition whereby monarchs always reconfirmed that yes, the city of London is a special, unique place that's best left to its own business, while simultaneously distrusting it. Many a monarch thought the city of London was too powerful and rich, and one even built a new capital city nearby, named Westminster, to compete with the city of London and hopefully suck power and wealth away from it.
And it's weird to think that these were two separate entities at one point, but now they are one whole one, but also separate in some sense.
This was the start of the Second London. As the centuries passed, Westminster grew and merged with nearby towns, eventually surrounding the walled-in and still separate city of London.
I don't think I've ever seen this map before. I'm gonna nerd out real quick and look at it. So it's hard to kind of like, because there's this is a fairly modern map because the amount of bridges that we're seeing. You have the London docks down there. You have Tower Hill. So you got, I can't tell. I guess this is after Tower Bridge because there's a bridge right going across where Tower Bridge is. So Tower Bridge was created late 19th century. So this is probably somewhere around then. Huh. Interesting stuff. You got St. Paul's kind of in the middle right there.
But people began to call the whole urban collection London, and the name became official when Parliament joined the towns together under a single municipal government with a mayor. But the mayor of London still doesn't have power over the tiny city of London, which has rules and traditions like nowhere else in the country and possibly the world. For example, the ruling monarch doesn't just enter the city of London on a whim, but instead asks for permission from the Lord Mayor at a ceremony. While it's not required by law, the ceremony is unusual to say the least.
And we have tons of ceremonial things like that that are still going on.
The City of London also has a representative in Parliament, the Remembrancer, whose job it is to protect the city's special rights. Because of this, laws passed by Parliament sometimes don't apply to the City of London.
That sounds like some wasted tax dollars, but we won't talk too much about that.
Notably voting reform laws, which we'll discuss next time. But if you're curious for a preview, unlike anywhere else in the UK, elections in the City of London involve medieval guilds and modern companies. Finally, the City of London also owns and operates land and buildings far outside its border, making it quite wealthy. Once you start looking for the city's crest, you'll find it in lots of unexpected places.
I've been to the Paddington Station. Subconsciously I've seen this. I haven't consciously seen it. Yeah, that's the same crest or flag on the left, but on the right, I'm not sure what that is.
Most notably on Tower Bridge, which, while being in London, is operated by the City of London.
I've definitely seen that. Huh. Interesting.
These crests everywhere, when combined with the City of London's age and wealth and quasi-independent status, make it an irresistible temptation for conspiracy nuts. Add in the oldest Masonic temple, and it's not long before the crazy part of the internet starts yelling about secret societies controlling the world via the finance industry from inside the city-state of London. And don't forget the reptilian alien queen who's really behind it all. But conspiracy theories aside, the City of London is not an independent nation like the Vatican is, no matter how much you might read it on the internet. Rather, it's a unique place in the United Kingdom with a long
we gotta pause on every.
No matter how much you might read it on the internet. Rather, it's a unique place.
Alright, so we're looking at right here. I'm trying to find a date first. I'm not seeing a date. Tower Street Ward. High Street.
Place in the United Kingdom with a long and very complicated history. The wall that began all this 2,000 years ago is now mostly gone, so the border between London and its secret inner city isn't so obvious. Though, next time you're in London, if you come across a small dragon on the street, he still guards the entrance to the city, in a country in a country.
Love it. I remember this is part one. Let's get to the second part of the video, which is London's secret mayor. Who runs the city? So the Lord Mayor.
The City of London is a unique place. It's the city, in a country that runs its government with perhaps the most complicated elections in the world, involving medieval guilds, modern corporations, mandatory titles, and fancy hats, all of which are connected in this horrifying org chart.
Don't know how to read this, but let's try. We got the City of London Corp. Interesting. Yeah, we're not going to try to read this. This is insane.
Why so complicated? Though the new skyscrapers might make you think the City of London is relatively young, it's actually the oldest continuous government on the island of Great Britain.
Right.
The City of London predates the empire that Victoria ruled, the kingdoms Anne united, and the Magna Carta that John reluctantly signed. While the London which surrounds the city only got to electing its first mayor in 2000, the list of mayors who've governed the City of London is almost 700 people long, going back more than 1,000 years. The City of London's government is so old that there's no surviving record of exactly when it was born. There are only documents, like the Magna Carta, which mention the pre-existing powers the City of London already had at that point in time.
We can guess Londinium's exolvent. We can guess, like, when William the Conqueror, that might be near the time.
So while a government like the United States' officially gets its power from the people, and Parliament gets its power from the Crown, which in turn gets it from God, the City of London gets its power from time immemorial, meaning that the city is so old it just is. And that
There's got to be some breadcrumbs here.
that age brings with it unusual and complicated traditions. The most notable of these, perhaps, is that in City of London elections, companies get votes. Quite a lot, actually. About 3/4 of the votes cast in city elections are from companies, with the remaining 1/4 from residents.
That doesn't seem like an issue at all. You know, companies voting on something versus people. Yeah.
The way it works is that the bigger a company is, the more votes it gets from the City of London. The companies then give their votes to select employees who work but do not live within the city, and it's these employees who do the actual voting at election time. The
Not as bad as what I thought, but still seems like there could be.
result is that the Common Council, the bureaucratic beating heart of the City of London, has about 20 Common Councillors elected by residents of the city, and about 80 elected by companies of the city. The reasoning behind this unusual tradition is that for every one person who lives in the City of London, 43 people commute in every day. In total, that's 300,000 commuters using city services, and whose employment depends on the City of London being business friendly. The man in charge of the Common Council, and who heads the city's government, is the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor of London. Now, suppose you want to be Lord Mayor. Surely, just as in that other London, all you'll need do is A, be a British Commonwealth or EU citizen who has B, lived in the city for a year, and who C, wins the election, right?
Sounds pretty easy. There's got to be a catch, though.
No. In the City of London, that's not nearly enough. Ready for the qualifications list? Before you can even run for Lord Mayor, you need to have been a sheriff of the City of London. But before you can be sheriff, you need to be an alderman. What's an alderman? Well, the City of London is divided into 25 wards, and
So alderman is like a warden of a ward?
and each ward elects one alderman to represent it on the Court of Aldermen, a subsection of the Common Council. But before you can run for alderman, you need to gain freeman status. And who gives out freeman status? Why, none other than the very Court of Aldermen you're trying to get elected to, which might just seem like a conflict of interest. Luckily, there is another way to get freeman status. Join one of the city's guilds. Sadly, they aren't called guilds, they're called livery companies, a name which is both more boring and less descriptive, but the remnants of medieval guilds, many of them are, and within the city there are 108 of them to choose from, including, but not limited to, the apothecaries, the fishmongers, the masons, the mercers, the scientific instrument makers, the bankers, the shipwrights, the wheelwrights, the butchers, the bakers, 2 different candlestick makers, and the most exciting of all, the chartered accountants. Many of these guilds
That's insane. So it seems like the society, there's a very much hierarchical society of who you know versus what you do. There is some merit, but the merit is blanketed by who you know.
Guilds like the Fletchers have become charities, but some are still active, such as the goldsmiths who test the quality of British coinage, and the hackney carriage drivers who license taxi drivers. To join one of these guilds, you'll either need to meet the professional requirements, or for the charities like the haberdashers, you'll need the approval of 2 existing members. If you meet none of the livery company's membership requirements, but you think you'll be a clever clogs and start your own livery company and grant yourself freeman status, tough luck, because new livery companies need to be approved by, you guessed it, the Court of Aldermen. But let's assume one way or another you get the official freeman status certificate. Now you can finally run for alderman of a ward. after the Lord Chancellor's Advisory Committee also approves of you. But that small barrier passed, you can win election as alderman in either one of the 4 wards where people live or the 21 wards where companies live.
It's so crazy, man.
Once on the Court of Aldermen, to continue your path to the mayor's office in Guildhall, you must now be elected as sheriff. But this time, it's the members of the livery companies who pick the sheriffs. So if the livery company members elect you as sheriff after you have successfully completed your term, then you can finally run for mayor. But surprisingly, residents of the City of London don't vote for the mayor. Our old friends on the Court of Aldermen do. So in summary, once you get your freeman status from either the Court of Aldermen or the livery companies, and after your ward elects you as alderman, and then the livery companies elect you as sheriff, and after your term as sheriff ends, but while you're still on the Court of Aldermen, then you can run for mayor. And
some way, somehow, this feels like some very old Greek-ish sort of society in some way. I'm not sure how to point it out, but it feels that way.
And assuming the other aldermen select you, you can finally take your place as the Right Honourable, the Lord Mayor of London.
So every Lord Mayor is quote-unquote well-established and quote-unquote well-represented and qualified.
For 1 year with no salary. And you have to cover your own expenses, which will be quite considerable, as your new job consists mostly of making hundreds of speeches a year around the world promoting city business. But you do get that fancy hat, which just might make it all worthwhile.
Wow. That's a good little image to end it on right here. Well, we kind of learned a little bit more about the City of London. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. This was well informative. These 2 videos, CGP Grey, amazing job with the explanation. It seems like this is a thankless job almost. It seems like, if you get to this point, you might have, well, first off, it seems like you would well deserve it given the checks and balances and committees that oversight this, but I don't know. I haven't really heard of the Lord Mayor. I mean, I don't live in London either, but for my people that do live in London, or for my people that live in England or the United Kingdom, however you want to call it, tell me what you guys think of Lord Mayor. Is it something you guys pay attention to? Is it something you guys don't pay attention to? Interesting stuff. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, as we have tons of history content for you to enjoy. I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye-bye.